So the age-old question about whether or not smartphones are good enough to compete with mirrorless cameras or DSLRs, that discussion is going to go on for quite some time to come. And I decided to go ahead and take some samples in this particular setting right here. Now I have several cameras. I have a Sony a6000 with the kit lens over there. I also have different lenses for Sony. I have a Viltrox lens. I have a Canon SL3 with a 24mm lens, a wide angle lens 10-18, and other kit lenses too. And then I have my Sony a6100, which is what I'm filming with the Sigma 16mm lens on. Now this is my vlogging setup right here. So when it comes to shooting a vlog, a lot of people use their cell phones, but there's a lot of people that use cameras. Now, Sony released a new camera called the something V1, Sony V1 or something like that. F1 or something. It's $499. It's a vlogging camera with a 20mm field of view. So 20mm seems to be where a lot of people would like to be for vlogging. They think that's a good amount of room. But the Sony ZV-1, yeah, it's called the Sony ZV-1F, I think it is. But the Sony ZV-1, it was 24mm, and a lot of people felt like that was too close, like you had to put your arm way out in order to get a good vlog in. And since I had long arms, it didn't matter to me. So I thought it was a good length. I thought the Sony ZV-1 was fantastic for vlogs, and I still think it is. But with this setup right here, the 16mm lens is a wide angle lens. Then it's f1.4, so it's got really good bokeh portrait effect. Now, cell phones can do this now, and cell phones do it very well. So I want to sample 3 or 4 phones in this video and show you their versions of cinematic video or portrait style video. Now I like to vlog this way because this is actually the best way to give you the best quality, but it kind of keeps you in frame and it sends everything else backwards. So the thing about using a phone for a vlog, you run into situations where it just can't handle the ISO. So the vlog in low light might look different, or the vlog in really bright light might look different, or controlled lighting might look different. So I'm going to sample some different phones right here in this same setting. And I just have a ring light going at this point and one little soft LED over this way, just to kind of light up this side over here. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some samples up of each device and tell you which device I'm using. And then you can determine which one you think is really good. Now, when it comes to using a cell phone full throttle for vlogging or just using it for creation, that is probably the only thing that's convenient about a cell phone. That's got to be the main reason, is the convenience, I should say, that a cell phone you can shoot, edit, upload right on the device. And with the camera, you're going to need a computer, you're going to need something, you have to put it somewhere to get the footage, and you're going to have to edit, create somewhere else. So I agree that using a cell phone is definitely a convenience factor, and by today's standards, a cell phone is somewhat better than a point and shoot as far as quality and convenience. But quality wise, cell phones are getting on par with point and shoots. It's just that ISO that they have trouble with in low light in some situations, and not be able to change the lenses and things like that. But point and shoots can change lenses, but they definitely have a longer shooting range. Battery is going to be fantastic on them. Just recording quality might be a lot better. You get more detail. But I feel like Sony's attempt at selling a $500 version of the ZV-1, that might be a tough sale, because I saw a video of a guy saying, ditch your iPhone. I was like, I don't think people are ditching their iPhone for a Sony camera just because it's pocketable, and you can do these different showcase modes. So you can get portrait style with the click of a button. Cell phones can do that now, so that's going to be a very tough sale for Sony if they decide this is the market they're going to go in, because even at $500, you could grab the body of an actual mirrorless camera and just get you save up a little bit longer, get you a nice lens, or find you a nice kit together for just a little bit more. So I saw that camera though, and the reason I'm talking about it is because I was intrigued by it. I thought, man, I love the ZV-1, so maybe I'll get the ZV-1F is what it's called, but it's strictly for vloggers. But the thing is, they're taking away some things and giving you other things, but I don't know if I would spend $500 on it. When I have all these phones that I have an option, or I have the availability to grab a phone, there are definitely $500 phones that shoot better probably than a lot of point and shoots. The video is going to be better quality, probably in some situations, but the point and shoots or the style of ZV-1 style cameras are going to have a stronger detail effect, and you'll be able to crop those and get better footage, and it's just going to be better overall because of the sensor and having more room. But I still wouldn't tell a person to ditch their phone for this particular camera. So let's take a look at some footage from different cell phones, and then we'll come back and we'll chat a little bit more, and then we'll close out. So here's the iPhone 13 Pro Max shooting cinematic video, just holding it right here in the same position where the camera is positioned for the video. And you tell me, like, what do you think about this quality? Now, I actually can put an external microphone on this phone, and I can put an external microphone on all phones, but what if you didn't have that? What if you chose not to do that? You just want to carry just your phone and vlog and create and upload to whatever server you're going to go to. This is the iPhone 13 Pro Max. Now here is the iPhone 14 Plus shooting in 4K cinematic video, 30 frames per second. The iPhone 13 Pro Max can only do 1080p, but it's 4K on the 14 Plus. Now in this entire setting right here, I'm just holding the device up. These are the rear cameras, by the way, because the front cameras, you know, you got to put your best foot forward. So if you're competing against the Sigma lens, you really got to do well. So you tell me what this 14 Plus is working with, because it's shot in 4K 30, just like the Sony a6400 with the Sigma lens on it. So 14 Plus, what do you think? All right, now here is the S22 Ultra shooting in portrait style video, basically cinematic video. In the same position, I think you'll start to really see some differences in sharpness with the Samsung devices. They tend to sharpen theirs a lot, and that's not a bad thing. I actually really like it. So you tell me what you think about this particular quality. Now here is the Pixel 7 Pro shooting in 1080p cinematic video. Same position, just sitting right here with it. You tell me what you think about this quality. I think the cinematic video on this definitely is going to have different tones than the iPhone, but it doesn't mean that it's worse, much worse than the iPhone, but it does need some work. But it's actually still really solid when given a chance to be in the right lighting, and like this setting right here. So Pixel 7 Pro. Now, just to add this one in, I have to do it because this is, to me, the most slept on device of a lot of devices that I have. This is the Z Flip 4, and I'm again using that cover display. It just sets it off, man. It's just a good look. So the Z Flip 4 is here, and you start to look at the details and sharpness with this device as well. You can adjust the blur like you can on the other devices, but they're all set at their default setting. And now let's go back and close out this video. So as you can see, smartphones, all the different levels in the smartphones have different quality, but I don't think either one of them will ever actually end up being as good and strong as a mirrorless camera or DSLR. But this camera that Sony is selling, it could possibly have better quality than one of the phones I showed there. I'm pretty sure it has going to have more detail more than likely. But I think the iPhones have the strong suit when it comes to cinematic video. They're some of the best for cinematic video. However, I really like Samsung's detail on their portrait style video or cinematic video. The sharpness that it does is incredible, and then Samsung has the advantage, in my opinion, for doing filters. I love the black and white filter, where everything else is black and white and you're in color. I think that's one of the best filters a person could possibly use if they want to vlog and make it all about themselves. It's just in living color. You remember that show? But anyway, it's your man Jay. Smartphones will someday be better than mirrorless cameras and DSLRs. People say that. Before I get out of here, there are people that say DSLRs have had their time. I don't think so. I think this has got to be one of the best DSLRs ever. This Canon right here with the 24mm lens, this is like a go-to for a lot of people for taking photos and video. The problem with this crop sensor with the 24mm lens is you have to put the camera really far back in order to get this same shot. Like I have long arms, but I'm really less than an arm away from this camera because of the 16mm wide angle lens. But with this camera, I'd have to push it way back. Like I could put this camera on this tripod and it would be very far back. As a matter of fact, let me put this camera up so you can see the quality coming from the same position with this camera. So let's switch real quick and then I promise I'll get out of here. Okay, so I kind of just propped the camera up in the same position, but I'm sitting much farther back. You have no idea how much farther back I'm sitting. Actually, you do, because I'm getting ready to show you. Now you see where I am right now, how much farther back I am. Now I'm more than an arm's length back away from the camera, the Sigma lens, because the 24mm lens requires you to be far away from the camera in order to get some good footage. All right, so there's always different levels of quality that you're going to get from smartphones, mirrorless cameras, DSLRs. They're all going to give you some of the best quality. But ditching your cell phone, I don't think it's time yet. I think cell phones are actually going uphill, and mirrorless cameras and DSLRs have leveled off for people other than creators. Most creators will probably always use some form of a camera like this with a high power lens on it. And some creators are switching to using phones for their channels. Like MKBHD has a channel out now where he just uses smartphones, and for him that's some big deal. You know, ooh, it's so exciting he's using a smartphone. But the rest of the world, as a creator, probably that's all they have. They don't have red cameras just to shoot YouTube, I guess. And his quality of videos on that channel are actually the same as everybody else's. It's pretty good. So it's your man Jay. Hope you guys enjoyed. Would you ditch your smartphone, whatever phone you have, for the new Sony camera or any of these point and shoot cameras that are specifically for vlogging? You've got Nikon, Canon, everybody has that point and shoot. Fuji, they all have that point and shoot. Panasonic, they all have a camera that they say is for vlogging. Would you switch to one of those and just stop using a smartphone? It's your man Jay. See you in the comments. Take care.